Hey guys, Big Anthony here. It is Sunday, July 11th, 2021. This video, I just want to focus on a few things, give you a few updates, and let you know what's going on in my area of operation. As many of you know, that this past Friday, July 9th, was the Cyber Polygon. That was the big meeting held, like a worldwide meeting with the top minds in cybersecurity, ransomware, the whole gamut, hosted by, I believe it was Klaus Schwab. And many of us heard about this months ago. In fact, right before the new year, I think I posted some videos on Klaus Schwab, at least on my Instagram page. I'm not sure about YouTube. I know I talked about him saying that a cyber pandemic can be multiple times worse than the COVID pandemic that we went through in 2020. What gets me is that this Cyber Polygon meeting takes place, but leading up to it, there was many hacks. I'm going to list a few of them here and just talk about them briefly. But then just last night, so last night was Saturday night, about 1 o'clock in the morning, just from my area of operation. The power goes out. I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning and everything is black. There's no blinking lights. The computer lights are down. The TV lights are off. All of our night lights are out. I look out the window. My solar stuff is still on. I go out the front of the house and I peek my head out, look around the neighborhood, and everything is black. So I know it's not just my house that's down. I pick up my phone and I try to find out what happened, and our local energy provider was giving updates, but they were not giving the reasons why the power was out. They were saying, in fact, that they plan to have it on between 4 and 5 a.m. So with that, I went and just made sure that I had what I needed, and I did a video. I posted a picture on the community page on YouTube just showing you a few things that I keep on my bedside, and one of them is a small Goal Zero battery generator. This is a larger one. This is the Jackery 1000. I keep the Goal Zero Yeti 150 by my bed. I put a new battery in it this year, and so that's running 7 years now perfectly. I've only replaced the battery once in it, and so that small little generator keeps USB stuff going. I have a USB light bulb that could keep going for days and days and days on that Goal Zero battery. I recharge my cell phone with it. I could recharge the Goal Zero torch that I have by my bedside that gives me red light, white light, and also lantern light. That can be charged off on USB, can be crank charged, and it can be solar charged. Then a small Streamlight Diwali flashlight, just a simple on and off flashlight. You know, so hard to find these days. Just simple on and off. Lots of flashlights today, you got to manipulate them, and there's all these different modes. I just want on and off, simple. And then that Diwali light also has a light that shines down, so if I'm walking the dogs, I could hold the light out straight and there's a light pointed down on the dogs. And then I keep a Phoenix LD22, I think it is, by the bed with a red lens cap on it, and that it saves my eyes. That's what I used last night to walk around the house to check on things. I used the red light just enough to see without ruining my night vision, and no 1,000 lumens lighting up a room, bouncing off the walls and making me blind. So I posted a picture on that. So those are a few things I keep by my bedside all times. And then you guys know that have been watching my channel, I can keep power and lights on for days and weeks and months if I need to with my solar. So getting back to the Cyber Polygon meeting, I thought it was kind of interesting that the meeting was Friday and Saturday my lights go out. So it would get one thinking that, and I've been telling people this, that I converse with on different mediums, on different pages and different phone, like text messaging and stuff like that, different groups that I talk with. I've been telling them, you have to get ready for a grid down a grid down, they're telling us is going to be possibly worse than the epidemic that we went through last year, and that we're still, in fact, going through. So I went ahead and I looked up some different things, and I found out that in 2020, $350 million worth of crypto was paid to different or various hacker groups, whether they're government sponsored, independent, whatever. You never know who, even when they tell you who these groups are, you don't know if there's a government behind them or not, including up to and including our government as well. So we had just a few here: Colonial Pipeline, Steamship Authority of Massachusetts, JBS Meatpacking Company, the Washington, D.C. Metro Police Department. That's just to name a few. In 2020, according to the Harvard Business Review, the amount companies paid to hackers grew by 300%. The sudden increase in remote work and more lax security protections at home gave hacker groups the perfect opportunity. So that's what they're saying, may have led up to all this vulnerability in the hacker market. Healthcare ransomware was a big one in 2020 during the COVID-19 crisis. A study by a company called Comparatech had shown ransomware attacks had a huge financial impact on the healthcare sector. Over $20 billion were lost in impacted revenue and lawsuits and ransoms paid. So you could see that not only the ransoms paid, but bringing down a company, or in this case, the healthcare industry in general, you may not have an ability to bill, to collect money, to process banking information, and so it can account for a huge loss in revenue to a company. In 2020, over 600 hospitals, clinics, and other healthcare organizations were impacted by 92 ransomware attacks. 6 ransomware groups claimed responsibility for breaching the cybersecurity defenses of 292 organizations. The criminal organizations have taken more than $45 million in ransom money from their attacks. So if we just look at a few of these, we'll mention them briefly. Again, I talked about the Colonial Pipeline, which happened in late April 2021. It attacked their national critical infrastructure system, disrupted gas supplies all along the East Coast, or primarily on the East Coast, causing chaos and panic. Many of us seen the pictures of people filling up plastic garbage bags with gasoline. We thought it was a joke, but there were really people doing that to hoard and to get fuel. A group called the Dark Side Gang, I think, was blamed or fessed up to that one. It targeted the firm's billing system, internal business network, leading to widespread shortages. Colonial Group reportedly paid $4.4 million in Bitcoin. Supposedly the FBI tracked the money or somehow. I don't think they actually arrested anybody, but so that's like an ongoing investigation, I guess. The company called Acer, which makes computers, was attacked by a company called Revel or R-Evil, a hacker group. And in fact, they're responsible for a lot of stuff that's going on. They're including the ones that supposedly hacked JBS Foods. They're supposedly a Russian-backed group. I don't know much about them, but again, Revel or R-Evil. JBS reportedly paid $11 million on June 10th in order for them to get back into business again. And apparently they paid that in Bitcoin. And I'm getting here, it's saying one of the largest payments of all time. So keep that in the back of your head. This is just happening now after they announced the cyber pandemic earlier or late in 2019. And now, lo and behold, we have all these little, just like a fight, you have these little jabs. The boxers come out and they're feeling each other out, okay? And they're poking little jabs, getting distance, measuring, and they're getting ready to throw the right hand, but they've got to they got to set the opponent up with a lot of these jabs. And I think, or it seems, that's what's happening now in a lot of these cyber attacks. Quanta, a company that apparently does a lot of work for Apple computers, was attacked by Revel, and R-Evil demanded $50 million in ransom from the computer manufacturer Quanta in April. This company does a lot of work for Apple, as I said. The firm refused negotiations with the hacker group, so it says here. The hackers said that they were going to release important blueprints and stuff, maybe secret stuff they were working on, sensitive material. R-Evil has seemed to called off this attack. However, Apple has not mentioned it. I haven't heard anything of ransom being paid. I haven't seen it covered too much on the news. And so that's another one we'll keep our eyes on. The NBA, the National Basketball Association, mid-April 2021, a hacker group, Babunk, I think it's called, Babuk, claimed to have stolen 500 gigabytes of confidential data concerning the Houston Rockets, financial info, contract info. They said they were going to make the info public if their demands weren't met, and no ransom has been paid to date. I don't believe so. If that has changed, please let me know in the comments. I'd be curious. AXA, European insurance company, was attacked by the Avedon gang, I guess. They gained access to 3 terabytes of information, of data. Don't know what they did with it, but again, we're seeing big companies. These aren't small companies. These are global companies, or large, very large companies that deal with, a lot of information, personal information, and their business infrastructure information as well. CNA, March in 2021, the hacker group encrypted 15,000 devices. Again, that was linked to Revel. Uses a new type of malware called the Phoenix Crypto Locker. Don't know much about that, guys. I'm not really big into this. I'm just reporting surface material just to let us all know and be thinking of what may be coming. The CD Projekt in February 2021, a video game development firm in Poland, was attacked by the Hello Kitty gang. They accessed source code to game projects in development. No plans to pay ransom, no backups in place to restore the data. So don't know what happened to the CD Projekt hack. Number 10 here, Kia Motors, February 2021, a subsidiary of Hyundai, was hacked with ransomware. Kia did not confirm the attack. Experts believe the Doppelpaymer gang demanded $20 million in ransom. The gang has released some stolen data, and no recent info that I have on that one. The RNC was attacked July 2021. Technology provider was Synex, had been hacked, S-Y-N-N-E-X. The culprit was Russia's S.V.R. intelligence agency. I'm not sure if that's attached to the Russian government or not, but apparently that's who attacked the RNC. I believe the same group attacked the DNC 6 years ago. Remember that hack that we haven't heard much detail about. The same group purportedly attacked the DNC. And then there's the SolarWinds attack that penetrated half a dozen government agencies. That, my friends, is ongoing. Many of the largest corporations are intertwined with our government, and so we don't know the fallout from the SolarWinds attack, or what could take place months and years down the road. We just don't know. And then I picked up on this story. I just want to mention it here to show you how vulnerable we are, and maybe to segue into the last phase I want to cover in this video. In 2013, an unknown group of individuals attacked the San Jose, California Metcalf transformer substation. In under 18 minutes, they took out 17 transformers with expertly placed shots from AK-47 rifles. They cut the communication lines, and they disappeared. I don't believe these people were ever brought to justice or they ever found out what happened. I don't know if that Metcalf, I can't remember if it was a widespread outages or what happened or how they recovered. But we have in this country 9 critical substations, I believe. So if a group like that can just go in and target with low tech, you know, we're talking about shooting and then maybe cutting lines. I mean, come on, anybody that knows a little bit about the underground lines and how these things work can attack these critical substations that we have around the country that keep our grid up and going. So our grid's vulnerable to low-tech types attacks. Everybody thinks of the, you know, the radio frequency weapons that they could put out there that can shut down an area. That's the size of a suitcase. Coronal mass ejection, CMEs. You know, the sun can create a storm like seen in 1859. The Carrington event, Quebec, Canada in 1989 was hit by a small CME. 6 million people lost power with that event. People tell us, or the scientists tell us, there's a 1 in 9 chance, or 1 in 10 chance of a large CME hitting the Earth within the next 10 years. So that's, you know, that's something that we can't control that could hit and knock the grid out. Also, electromagnetic pulse attacks. Again, North Korea threatened us in 2020 with one of these. That's where a bomb goes off in the atmosphere a certain distance up and nuclear explodes, releases this radiation burst, and this electromagnetic energy can put out a lot of the grid. The big thing I got out of watching some of the reports on this type of stuff is that at least in this country, we seem to be only reactive. We're not active or proactive in trying to stop some of this stuff. And so when and where and how big will the next cyber attack be? We don't know. Cyber Polygon met July 9th. Event 201 met, I believe, in October 2019. Look what happened after that event a few months later. And now look what's happening leading up to Cyber Polygon and perhaps what can lead afterwards. You have to keep prepping with the thinking that they're telegraphing what possibly could happen. So in essence, they're telling you what may happen. So what should people like you and me be doing? Prepping, getting ready with backup generators, solar panels, food supplies, water supplies, all at a time where the economy is being puffed up and put out there that it's doing really well with the stock market. But what we're really seeing on the streets and with jobs and with everything that's going on, we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing upheavals in the streets. We're seeing attacks against the founding principles of this country continuing to be pushed by governors and mayors and the president and his cabinet and politicians and sports figures. So what are normal, let's call them normal everyday Americans that don't want to go for this change in paradigm? What are we to do? Well, we're to remain vigilant, first of all, to keep our heads on a swivel, to, of course, watch our own area that we live, our families, our friends, alert people to the possibilities of what's going on. But I think something more sinister is taking place that's going to cause, I think, and I'll end the video here, I think that a lot of infighting is going to take place or going to be set up and orchestrated with these globalist powers, let's call them, where people in our country and around the world will be fighting each other. They'll pit us against one another using this medication that people don't want versus the ones that do want it. So they could put those people against each other. They could put snitches out. Hey, we'll pay you money if you tell us if you know somebody that's been outspoken about getting prepared or whatever, and then label you something. They can use their power, the media, the press. Their power is endless because they control everything: the airwaves, the TV, the pharmaceuticals, the money supply. They control everything. So how do we fight back against it? That's something to think about, and maybe for another video. We just saw the Haitian president, Jovenel Moise, assassinated. To me, the guys they arrested, listen, very, very suspect, that whole scenario, how that played out, and how they could walk into a president of a country's residence with no fight, really, shoot the guy and torture him, apparently, shoot his wife, get away, and then they parade these jokers in front of the camera like, yeah, here's the guy, here's the masterminds that did that. I'm not falling for that one. We got China and Taiwan. That's pretty big. That's going on now. The Deputy Prime Minister of Japan, Taro Aso, said his country is ready to defend itself against this life-threatening attack. They're looking at it that way. China's Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian said that it harmed the political foundation of China-Japan relations. So we're seeing a lot of verbal sparring going on. We're seeing active attacks on our troops overseas in different fronts that we have going on. We're seeing the Middle East, powder keg going on there. And here we have an administration that seems to be focused on all the wrong things. So I'll leave it there. I'll end the video. Stay ready, my friends. Keep your heads on a swivel. This meeting that took place July 9th can bring very serious ramifications for the country and for the world, I believe. And so prepare accordingly. Anthony, signing off. Stay ready.